Did you know for My Cousin Vinny, the misunderstanding between Vincent Gambini and Judge Haller regarding the two youts was in fact a real conversation between Joe Pesci and director Jonathan Lynn. Lynn, who is English, at first had a hard time understanding Pesci's pronounced New York accent. He decided that the routine was quite funny and put it in the film. 2. When Vinny is trying to explain his real name to Judge Haller, he knocks over the judge's chessboard. This was accidental, but director Jonathan Lynn thought it was so funny and authentic, he decided to leave it in the film. 3. Director Jonathan Lynn actually has a law degree and insisted the film's legal proceedings be realistic. In fact, many attorneys and law professors have praised the film for its accurate depiction of trial strategy and courtroom procedure, especially with regards to presenting expert witnesses at trial. In fact, the film has been screened at some law schools to illustrate courtroom procedures. 4. According to the DVD commentary, when Gambini says, "Now Mrs. Riley and only Mrs. Riley, how many fingers am I holding up now?" Joe Pesci ad-libbed the only Mrs. Riley part. Did you know for Back to the Future Part 3, Clint Eastwood was asked for permission about his name being used for Marty in the film. He consented and was said to be tickled by the homage. 2. According to the book Billy Gibbons' Rock and Roll Gearhead, ZZ Top was hanging around the set and was asked to be the town band. During one take, the camera broke. While waiting for the camera to be repaired, Michael J. Fox asked if they would play Hey Good Lookin', which they did. Afterwards, more requests were played. 2 hours later, someone inquired if the camera had been repaired. Robert Zemeckis replied that it had been fixed for quite a while. He just didn't want to stop the party that had evolved. 3. When filming the scene where Buford Mad Dog Tannen tries to lynch Marty, Michael J. Fox was accidentally hanged, rendering him unconscious for a short time. He records this in his autobiography, Lucky Man. 4. Marty uses a Frisbee pie plate to knock a gun out of Mad Dog's hand. In 1871, the Frisbee Pie Company started in Connecticut. Their pie pans were thrown on the campus of Yale, and this eventually led to the invention of actual Frisbees. Did you know for Rocky, producers Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff became interested in the script, and they offered Sylvester Stallone an unprecedented $350,000 for the rights. He had $106 in the bank and no car, and was trying to sell his dog because he couldn't afford to feed him, but he refused to sell unless they agreed to allow him to star in the film. They agreed on the condition that Stallone continue to work as a writer without a fee, and that he work as an actor for scale. After Winkler and Chartoff purchased the film, they took it to United Artists, who envisioned a budget of $2 million with an established star, particularly Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, Burt Reynolds, Nick Nolte, or James Caan. When Winkler and Chartoff told United Artists that they could only get the screenplay if Stallone starred, United Artists cut the budget to $1 million and had Chartoff and Winkler sign agreements that they would be personally liable if the film went over budget. The final cost was $1.1 million and was shot in just 28 days. Chartoff and Winkler mortgaged their houses for the last $100,000. The film went on to make $225 million worldwide. Did you know for St. Elmo's Fire, much like her character Demi Moore had an addiction problem when she was cast in the film? One day, director Joel Schumacher actually demanded that she leave the set because she was really out of it. Moore had to go through rehab and promised to stay clean in order to play a character. She went to treatment for 15 days and then had a counselor with her while shooting the film. 2. The booga booga cheer that the friends do when they are celebrating, or just in a good mood, was not originally in the script. Rob Lowe stated that the cheer came out of observing fans whispering about the stars of the movie and then laughing. The cheer itself makes fun of what these whispered conversations sounded like from a few feet away. 3. Emilio Estevez and Demi Moore began dating during the filming of the movie. He said he was deeply in love with her. For a time, they were even engaged, though they never married. 4. Robert Downey Jr. was considered for the role of Billy Hicks, which in the end was cast with Rob Lowe. 5. The street that the St. Elmo bar is on is in the Universal backlot. 2 or 3 buildings to the left is the Hill Valley Clock Tower from Back to the Future. Did you know for The Proposal, Betty White almost turned down her role in the film because filming would require her to spend 10 weeks away from her golden retriever? 2. Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds had been friends for 9 years before shooting this movie. They initially felt awkward shooting their nude scene. However, they have both said they quickly became comfortable with it, despite sometimes having their protection falling off. Bullock told that she has no problem with the nudity, stating, "This film needs my nudity to be funny." 3. Sandra Bullock plays a Canadian who wants to marry her assistant, played by Ryan Reynolds, in order to keep her visa status in the US and avoid deportation to Canada. In real life, Reynolds is from Canada, and Bullock is from the US, but grew up in Germany. 4. Julia Roberts was the first choice to play Margaret, but reportedly refused to take a pay cut, so Sandra Bullock took over the role. That was the second movie in the same year in which Roberts was offered a leading role and turned it down, with the role going to Bullock. The other movie was The Blind Side, which won Bullock a Best Actress Oscar. 5. As Margaret grows progressively warmer throughout the film, her hairstyle goes from a slick ponytail to being completely down and soft. Did you know for Groundhog Day, Bill Murray was bitten by the groundhog twice during shooting? Murray had to have anti-rabies injections because the bites were so severe. 2. According to director Harold Ramis, most of the time when he tried to explain a scene to Bill Murray, Murray would interrupt and ask, "Just tell me, good Phil or bad Phil?" 3. Harold Ramis originally wanted Tom Hanks for the lead role, but decided against it, saying that Hanks was too nice. 4. The film was not filmed in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, but actually in Woodstock, Illinois. There is a small plaque that reads, "Bill Murray stepped here on the curb," where Murray continually steps into a puddle. There is another plaque on the building wall at the corner that says Ned's Corner, where Phil Connors was continually accosted by Ned Ryerson. During the Ned scene, the sign for Woodstock Jewelers is clearly seen in the background. 5. Harold Ramis states that the original idea was for Phil to live February 2nd for about 10,000 years. Later, he says that Phil probably lived the same day for about 10 years. 6. Bill Murray has been the honorary Grand Marshal for the Groundhog Day celebrations. Did you know for School of Rock, the idea for the movie came when writer Mike White moved into an apartment next to Jack Black? White would often find Jack Black running naked through the halls or blasting much of the music featured in the movie at full volume. 2. The rock band Led Zeppelin are notoriously hesitant to allow their music to be licensed for commercial purposes. Knowing this, Richard Linklater filmed a plea by actor Jack Black in front of 1,000 screaming fans, imploring the band to let the production use Immigrant Song in the movie. The plea worked, and the filmed request is included on the Blu-ray. Aptly enough, Jack Black introduced the band's 3 surviving members, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones, when they were the recipients of the esteemed Kennedy Center honor in the presence of President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. 3. Jack Black thought of all the nicknames for the kids. 4. Writer Mike White is actually not a huge fan of classic rock. The basis of the movie is actually used so Jack Black could perform his own favorite music. 5. All the kids really play their instruments, and the backup singers are real vocalists. Did you know for 500 Days of Summer, Jenny Beckman, the girl who is mentioned at the beginning of the movie, was a real girl who dumped one of the screenwriters, Scott Neustadter? Summer is based on this girl and the script of the movie on their relationship. 2. There is a fan theory that the final conversation between Tom and Summer on the park bench was all imagined by Tom and did not really happen. Even Joseph Gordon-Levitt has said he believes this is more a scene of Tom's coming to inner peace than actual reality. 3. Red is intentionally not used in this film, and the color blue is often conveyed to represent love or happiness. The color red does make an appearance in Summer's apartment, where a little red origami bird can be seen. It makes a final appearance at the end when Tom meets Autumn, and the color of her blouse is red. 4. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character says, "It sucks. Why is it that pretty girls think they can treat people like crap and get away with it?" In 10 Things I Hate About You, Gordon-Levitt's character says, "You know, just because you're beautiful doesn't mean you can treat people like they don't matter."